Laudetur Jesus Christus, Vatican and World News.
In the headlines this Thursday, November 19th, inspired by Pope Francis, young people from around the world are meeting online over the course of 3 days to contemplate ideas and offer practical proposals for a new global economy. Pope Francis urges Passionists to renew their charism and mission as the order marks 300 years since its foundation. And Christian leaders in India appealed to the nation's government to grant bail to an elderly Jesuit priest who was arrested over 1 month ago on charges of terrorism. In the Vatican, I'm Francesca Merlo. More than 2,000 young people from around the world are taking part online in the Economy of Francis event to envision possibilities for a more just, inclusive and sustainable global economy. Originally scheduled to take place in Assisi in March of this year, the event was postponed to November 19th to November 21st due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. For the same reason, the Economy of Francis, or the Economy of Francesco, is now taking place online. To tell us more about the event, here's Christopher Wells.
The Economy of Francesco event is the inspiration of Pope Francis, who, on the feast of St. Joseph the Worker in 2019, invited young economists and entrepreneurs from around the world to take part in a meeting that would contemplate a different kind of economy, one that brings life, not death, one that is inclusive and not exclusive, humane and not dehumanizing, one that cares for the environment and does not despoil it. In his letter, the Pope explained that the event would be an opportunity to bring us together and allow us to meet one another and eventually enter into a covenant to change today's economy and to give a soul to the economy of tomorrow. More than 2,000 registered participants from 120 different countries are taking part in the encounter, sharing the lived experience, the work, the proposals, and the reflections that have taken place over the months leading up to the event. The program for the next 3 days is meant to be innovative, participative, and global. The Economy of Francis will be directed from Assisi, with the principal sessions and live links broadcast from those places historically associated with Saint Francis. In his message inviting them to the meeting, Pope Francis said, "The very name of the event, the Economy of Francesco, evokes the holy man of Assisi and the gospel that he lived in complete consistency, also on the social and economic level." St. Francis, the Pope explained, offers us an ideal and, in some sense, a program. "For me, who took his name," Pope Francis continued, "he is a constant source of inspiration." The event will include conferences with young economists and entrepreneurs in dialogue with leading world experts to discuss the themes, proposals, and prospects of the Economy of Francesco. But there will also be moments of meditation and reflection based on great works of literature, poetry, and art, along with theatrical and musical performances. Pope Francis himself will address the participants on Saturday with a video message at the conclusion of the gathering. I'm Christopher Wells.
As Cardinal Peter Turkson reminded the thousands of young people connected to Assisi on the Economy of Francesco's virtual platform, inspired by the saint who put the poor at the center of his apostolate, they are called to transform hope for the rights of future generations into reality. The president of the Vatican's Dicastery for Promoting Integral Human Development was speaking at the start of the 3-day bonanza of seminars, webinars and interventions by world-class economists.
Inspired by St. Francis of Assisi, with our gaze firmly fixed on Jesus and under the leadership of Pope Francis, you young people of faith and goodwill, you can deploy a noble expression of love, of social love, by generating a new economy that brings about good wealth. So you can aim at 3 things: good work, good wealth, and then good profit. So inspired by this then, my dear friends, I'd like to conclude paraphrasing a prayer of St. Francis of Assisi, thanking all of you for bringing light into our dark world, for bringing love in these times of indifference and challenges, and for bringing hope to many of us who are still in despair, and for bringing faith in a different economy which will sow friendship and which will promote harmony among God's children, God's people. So, my dear friends, I wish to thank you again for coming, for having made time to participate in this event. And we want to commend the future engagements you all involved in, the work and whatever you're seeking to develop. We commend all of that to God and ask God to touch it and bless it for all of you.
That was Cardinal Peter Turkson speaking on the first day of the Economy of Francis. Pope Francis penned a message on Thursday to the Passionists as the religious order marks the 300th anniversary since its foundation. The Pope urged the group to renew their charism and mission by focusing on gratitude, prophecy and hope. Devin Watkins reports.
The Congregation of the Passion of Jesus Christ, commonly known as the Passionists, was founded in Italy by St. Paul of the Cross on November 21, 1720. As the religious order celebrates its third centenary, Pope Francis wrote a message on Thursday to the Superior General. Reflecting on their charism of living and proclaiming the memory of Christ's passion, the Pope urged the Passionists to adopt their mission towards new apostolic goals. He said humanity is experiencing a spiral of changes that calls into question the intimate constitution of its being. You too, he said, are asked to identify new lifestyles and new forms of language in order to proclaim the love of the crucified one. Pope Francis encouraged the Passionists to implement the commitment they made at their recent general chapter to renew their mission on the basis of gratitude, prophecy, and hope. Gratitude, said the Pope, is the experience of remembering the past within the context of the Magnificat and walking toward the future with a Eucharistic attitude. The Passionists, he added, can find happiness and fulfillment in contemplating and proclaiming Christ's outpouring of love on the cross. The Pope said the dimension of prophecy means thinking and speaking in the Spirit. This is possible, he noted, for those who can grasp the movements of the Spirit in the depths of their hearts and in all of creation. Living in this way, he added, ensures that the word they proclaim is always adapted to the needs of the present moment. Pope Francis said the virtue of hope allows Passionists to perceive the ongoing generating action of the Spirit in their religious and parish communities despite the fact that their numbers are on the wane. Hope means rejoicing in what exists instead of complaining about what is missing, he said. Pope Francis concluded his message urging the Passionists to back up their verbal proclamation of Christ's passion with concrete gestures of love. Only those crucified by love as Jesus was on the cross are able to help the crucified of history with effective words and actions. I'm Devin Watkins.
Peru, which has had 3 presidents in the last week, is craving stability to see it through to an election next summer and to end a winter of discontent. James Blaze reports.
Respectable Francisco Sagasti of the moderate centrist Purple Party has been chosen to uphold the integrity of Peru's red and white national colours by its Congress. As the leader of Congress, the role falls to him to try and regain stability. It'll be no easy task, as Peru's been hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic and its economy is in nosedive. GDP, or gross domestic product, expected to fall by 14% this year. His chief ally as caretaker president is the respect and esteem in which he's held. The 76-year-old industrial engineer has all the political tools, credibility and statesmanship to repair the stalled situation in which Peru finds itself. In a speech he said, "We'll do everything possible to return hope to the people and show them that they can trust us." Confidence was severely shaken with the impeachment of democratically elected President Martin Vizcarra, who took office in 2018. He denies accepting bribes when he was a state governor. He was replaced by Manuel Merino, who lasted just 5 days, resigning in the midst of nationwide protests in which 2 young men were killed by security forces and dozens of other demonstrators were wounded and injured. Sagasti's task is to grimly hang on until the next presidential election, which is in July of next year. For his part, Vizcarra, whose non-renewable term ends then, has agreed to stick to the decision of Congress. For Vatican News, James Blaze reporting.
Christian leaders in India have appealed to the nation's government to help obtain a bail for Father Stan Swami, who was arrested over a month ago on charges of terrorism. Robin Gomes tells us more.
A delegation led by Bishop Derek Fernandez of Belgaum met the Deputy Commissioner of Belagavi district in the southern state of Karnataka on November the 17th and handed him separate memoranda addressed to Indian President Ramnath Kovind and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. More than 200 people under the banner of the United Christian Forum silently demonstrated in Belagavi town before handing over the memoranda to the district official. We want Father Stan Swami to be released on bail immediately on account of his deteriorating health and his advanced age, Bishop Fernandez said, explaining the content of the memoranda. We are peeved and concerned about his health, as he himself had written to one of his priest colleagues that he needed help from others for eating, drinking, and carrying out other personal needs, Bishop Fernandez told UK News on November the 18th. Officials of the National Investigation Authority (NIA), a federal agency to combat terrorist activities, arrested Father Stan Swami on October the 8th from Bagaicha, a Jesuit social action center in the outskirts of Jharkhand state capital Ranchi, which works for the rights of indigenous people. Father Swami is the oldest among 16 rights activists, lawyers and intellectuals arrested under the draconian Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. He is being held in Taloja Central Prison in Navi Mumbai, Maharashtra state and has been denied bail. To Father Swami's November 6th application to allow him to use a sipper and straw to consume liquids as he is unable to hold the glass because of Parkinson's disease, the court said it would respond to him at the next hearing on November the 26th. I'm Robin Gomes.
And finally, the president of the Pontifical Academy for Life, Archbishop Vincenzo Paglia, highlighted the transmission of life in its relation to spousal love and reproductive technologies during a virtual forum on Wednesday. Father Benedict Mayaki tells us more.
Archbishop Vincenzo Paglia, president of the Pontifical Academy for Life, participated in the virtual edition of the forum panel on Islamic ethics and infertility treatment on Wednesday. The forum, hosted by the World Innovation Summit for Health, WISH, discussed assisted reproductive technologies, including in vitro fertilization and cryopreservation, and the unique ethical concerns these technologies raise. Archbishop Paglia, during his intervention, underscored the important position that the transmission of life holds in Catholic thinking, as it is understood within the relationship of factors that unify sexual activity, the love between spouses, and generation. He explained that the Catholic tradition considers this unity as a fundamental anthropological truth that is engraved in the experience common to all cultures. As such, the bond between spousal love and generation is a gift more than a duty, and it calls for our protection. Speaking further, the Archbishop said that since each child is generated in an encounter between a man and a woman, everyone is born within an alliance that hosts him or her. Flowing from this, the pregnancy period, in a sense, becomes of enormous importance as it allows the parents to process the welcome of the child, recognizing him or her not as a foreigner, but as a guest. Archbishop Paglia further added that our religious experience makes it possible to consider the question of generation within a horizon that transcends earthly concerns and avoids absolutizing a child as something to be had no matter what it takes. He said that every way in which the development of human life and fraternal solidarity is supported and fostered is an expression of the fruitfulness of the couple and the family, even if it is not possible to have one's descendants. It is in this way, he added, that we live out our being sons and daughters of God. I'm Father Benedict Mayaki.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Vatican and World News. For more on these and other stories, and to hear this broadcast as a podcast, please be sure to visit our web portal at www.vaticannews.va. You can also follow the Economy of Francesco live streamed on the website francescoeconomy.org. Many thanks go to Roberto Colangeli in studio. In the Vatican, I'm Francesca Merlo.